13:43. The Stanford commit, comes from such a strong running family. Newbury Park, such a strong school as well.
And that's Samuel Burgess making his way up to the start line. We've got sparks flying, and I think we're going to see a little bit more of that in the race itself. We'll give you your competitors, your full start list. We've got Samuel Burgess, Patrick Kuhn, Charlie Ortmans, Aiden Cox, Colin Whitaker, Paul Bergeron, Thomas Rice, Ty Garrett, Christopher Sullivan, Berkeley Nance, Emmanuel Perez, Zach Munson, Tyrone Gores, Daniel Simmons, and the previously mentioned Lex Young of Newbury Park. And this is just so exciting, the level of production that they get.
This is a good song that they've got going on. Jump around, get it going. The energy here. 5Ks are an exciting race, and this crowd is ready to see some magic happen. We've been slipped a list of the top 10 high school all-time times, and I think that means they're anticipating something to happen here.
Yeah, there's a little buzz in the air. No one ever wants to say it out loud, but you've always got your eyes on that national record. That national record of 13:57, 17-time NCAA champion Edward Cheserek, King Ches. Everyone knows him, especially you, a fellow Duck.
Yeah, teammates.
Teammates at Oregon. And, that one's definitely in play. That 13:57, Lex Young has run faster than that on the outdoor track. So getting an opportunity to take a crack at it inside.
They have such a strong team at Newbury Park. They show up, they win the cross-country national title, and Lex's brother is, competing in college, excelling at the national level too. It's a great when you have, it's a family affair, a dynasty as well. Katie, you also come from a family of runners as well. What's it like to have running in your blood?
Oh my gosh, it's kind of just a family energy atmosphere. Like when we go on vacation, we have to get up and go for a run. It's like just part of the lifestyle.
It's part of your job.
It's part of my job. But yeah, I actually watched Nico compete last night. So
yeah,
definitely
Nico
in the
Young
family.
Competing for NAU, Northern Arizona University. Up in altitude at Albuquerque at the NCAA Indoor Championships, one of the hardest tracks to run on indoors. They probably wish they were here at the track of New Balance.
Yeah, not a bad place to be. At sea level. Nobody's complaining about that. And we're off. Championship boys, 5,000 meter run. 15 athletes in this one. And they are out. And when you're talking records, it's always fun to talk about it, but right now what everybody's thinking is, how am I going to go out there and win this national title? The records are all gravy, but the number one thing that they're looking for is, how am I going to win the New Balance Nationals Indoor Championship? We got 25 laps to decide to crown a champion here.
We've got 25 laps, and guys, we have a nice even barrier. The national record, we said, is that 13:57.04 from Edward Cheserek. So just keep an eye out for that 14-minute barrier. We love even numbers in track and field. Makes the splits a little bit easier to keep track of as well. And they're not getting out super hard and fast. I think everyone's kind of biding their time, not wanting to do the early work. It's this game you play in the 5K of, I don't want to work that hard in the beginning because this is a long race.
Definitely. I mean, I think every Pac-12 5K I ever ran was, let's jog for 6 laps or half the race, and then, okay, now we're going to sprint a mile. Because, you were trying to save, you'd all run 1,500 before, so it ends up just kind of being a tempo and then a glorified mile. And I think that kind of happens a lot in championship-style races when you're not really concerned about going after a time, you just want to beat people. And, different strengths for different athletes.
Our early leader in this one, Paul Bergeron, slides to the back as Daniel Simmons and Lex Young start making that move up to the front. Two athletes who certainly want to see a fast pace because they're the fastest two in this one. Simmons comes in with a 14 flat personal best, and Lex Young 13:43 personal best. So no surprise to see them move up to the front once they saw those wave lights starting to get away a little bit.
And Daniel Simmons has a personal best of 14 flat .00, so you know breaking the barriers on his mind. And fun fact, he's the youngest of 10 siblings.
Wow.
Second at NXN last year, and when you're the youngest of 10, I'm sure there's quite a bit of
You want
running
attention.
Yeah, running away or from your older siblings, trying to make them chase you. And Simmons out here now trying to press the pace and see what they're able to do. Lots of these white New Balance kits for the top runners in this race. And we've got Simmons, Young, Aiden Cox up there, Zach Munson, Paul Bergeron still in the mix.
Katie, when you're watching an indoor track race, do you feel like you want to be out there? Do you get nervous for the athletes? Everyone has a very different experience.
Yeah, I definitely want to be out there. I think I get nervous when I know the person really well, and I have no control over what happens out there. I mean, you can prepare all you want, but it has to happen on the day. So when I get out there, I think the energy out there right now is incredible. Of course I want to be out there. It's what I do. Like, this is what I live for. So seeing them out there competing, having fun, yeah, it definitely gets me hyped.
Some future potential professional New Balance track athletes.
Yeah.
So through 1,251. And Simmons and Young up at the front. Aiden Cox of Black Bear TF in the mix. And we've really strung out now after those first 3-4 laps where they were finding their place and weren't quite moving. They've picked up the pace now. They've started to attack it a little bit more, and it really has strung this race out. And this is what you see. When you see fast times, you see a big strung out field. You get on that train, and you start helping each other do some of that work to go and attack it. But early on in a race like this, when you're thinking about a national title, you're trying to shut your brain off, not think too much about the pace that you're running, thinking more about what's it going to take to win.
Exactly. You want to be on the rail, calm, doing as little work, as little thinking as possible, kind of in that flow zone.
So with that in mind, is Lex Young in the perfect spot in this race or what?
I mean, I would be no further back than third or fourth.
Just locked in there, Simmons and Young up at the front. Simmons and Young, Aiden Cox in third, Zach Munson, Tyrone Gores. We've got a lot of distance still left in this one. Coming up on 1,800 meters, so we get our second K split after this lap. But Simmons, who took the lead right at 1,000 meters, now is just trying to clip off each lap as best as he can right around that 32-33 second mark.
And this is hard work for Simmons up front. And I expect this to be a race where each K gets faster and faster as we're going to be coming around soon to our next 1,000-meter split where we're going to get the 2K mark. But this is just a challenge for Simmons and Lex Young. At what point does he go and chase the time that he's looking for?
And that kilometer, just as you expected, 2:48, so 3 seconds quicker than what we saw from the first K. So they are starting to pick that pace up a little bit. 5:40 total time for your leaders through 2K. And the group now starting to thin out as the pace ratchets down. 7 in that lead group, and Simmons still leading the way.
I think the 5K is a delicate balance between being a little bit calm and zoned out, but also ready at any time to cover moves. And you kind of have to be in that top, can see the front, so you know that you can respond to any move, but at the same time, you got to be pretty calm, relaxed, confident that you can cover those moves.
And a lot of these competitors know each other. This elite group of boys is going to a lot of very similar top-level meets. Katie, I know as a premier high school athlete, you start to get to know people from around the country. What's it like when you start to know your competitors a little bit better and you have a sense of their styles?
Yeah, I mean, you can get a good grip on what type of competitor they are. How do they react when you go around them? Do they like to lead? Do they like to sit and kick? Are they going to share the load? And that kind of helps you determine a little bit of a race strategy that's best suited to your strengths.
We saw a little bit of a stumble there. Manuel Perez caught his foot on the rail, but managed to bounce back, get himself back in it, trying to reattach to that front pack, which is now whittled its way down to 6.
And that's a hard thing to do as you detach from a pack. My coaches always used to say, take 3 hard steps and connect. Because if you lose that pack and you're running in that no man's land, it can be extremely challenging to stay focused in the race.
And that pack behind starts sensing that and starts making their way up to you. It's hard to respond when they do make their way up there.
We've got a lot of back and forth going here, and we have this nice visual of these 2 larger packs with Emmanuel Perez right in the middle.
Still, Daniel Simmons leading the way. Tyrone Gores and Lex Young up in the mix. Young, the lone yellow vest among the 6 white New Balance kits up front.
And then we're going to get our 3K split coming up.
And we're at the halfway mark. They were right on pace for about 14:10, 14:12. So we'll see if they've continued on that pace. 8:31 through 3K, so a 2:50 right in between what we saw the first K, the second K. So running essentially 250.5 per kilometer right now.
And you got to think about what their coaches are yelling at them at this point. Is it stay patient, wait, this is a championship level race? Or is it you got to go now? That K was 2 seconds slower than your previous one. The time to work this hard 4th K is now.
Yeah, and I think for this caliber of athlete, if you're up in that front pack, you're just talking now about staying engaged, staying connected. They're all forgetting about time for a little bit. They'll peek at the clock as they go by, but they'll try and forget about time and start to see a little bit of division in pack. Yeah, that those top 3 separating from the next 3. See if Aiden Cox there sitting in 4th is able to bridge that gap, or if it gets wider as we approach just under 2 miles to go, or 2K to go.
Yeah, we're in that hard K, and you can see that when the gap forms, you got to make a hard decision.
So 1,600 meters left in this one. Simmons and Young still up the front, and Lex Young's just still tucked in second. He's been there since right at the 3-lap mark, and just trying to stalk Simmons as long as he can.
And this is going to be turning out to such a great finish with a big pack of 4. But I wouldn't neglect those 2 just behind. They have a lapped athlete that they're passing and trying to slide up. This is what championship racing is all about.
Simmons, Young, Gores, and Kuhn now that lead pack of 4. Aiden Cox and Zach Munson have been separated from a little bit, but trying to reattach, and you never know what happens. All it takes is one slow lap, and all of a sudden you get that pack right back together. But as they try and keep winding things up, Young looking over, just kind of peeking towards the stands, probably getting some words from his coach and peeking around, but see, they still look really strong up front, and a nice strong run from our cameraman alongside as well.
And that way you can really tell how fast these guys are running when the cameraman slows down.
So we're coming up here on the 4K split. 5 laps to go. Daniel Simmons has been leading.
Doing so much work in this race. It would be awesome to see him come away with the title, really leading end to end.
And Tyrone Gores now making his move around Lex Young. We see him on the outside, moving to the front, gonna charge from 900 out. And a big surge to the front. Lex Young responds. They'll go around Simmons for the first time. 4 laps to go. Tyrone Gores makes a strong, authoritative move. Lex Young trying to cover, but a little bit of a gap.
And Gores is acting like this is the final 400 to go. So much left in those legs.
Yeah, this looks
really
decisive.
strong move.
Trying to just shut the door in one move is Gores. Lex Young, who sat comfortably in second, we'll see what kind of response he has. And it gets a little bit chaotic here because they're going up against lapped athletes that they have to move around now. Gores, 600 to go. He's got 20 meters now on Lex Young and Daniel Simmons.
Tyrone Gores won the DMR last night with his team and ran a solo 407 anchor on his team. So he's running on tired legs right now.
Gores blowing this one open right now. Lex Young in second, Daniel Simmons in third. 400 meters to go, that's 2 laps. Tyrone Gores attacking. He's all alone up there. Lex Young now has a little bit.
He's got the
Probably left
lights
it
in his
too late.
eyes. He can see the lights too. They're coming back to him.
Absolutely, he's really picked it up here.
2:50 to go. The crowd is on their feet. Tyrone Gores. We see sparks flying. He's got one left, and he's got the wave lights in mind. Tyrone Gores running away with the New Balance Nationals title in the 5K. He's got more in mind too. Tyrone Gores down the backstretch.
The stadium is electric right now, urging Tyrone Gores on to this potential national record. He's right on the edge of those wave lights.
Oh man.
Off the final turn, Tyrone Gores, sparks are flying. He's your New Balance Nationals champ. He'll break the tape. 13 minutes. And wait for the official time, 56.82 seconds. That, my friends, a national record for Tyrone Gores.
Congratulations, Tyrone Gores. That is a new national record.
That record set by Edward Cheserek in 2012. Today at New Balance Nationals, the fastest party on the planet, Tyrone Gores sets a new national record, and he puts the rest of the runners to sleep. Gores, what a run. He'll take a victory lap.
His final K was in a 2:34.76. Absolutely incredible running from Tyrone Gores to dominate this boys championship 5K. Let's not forget, this is his second national title this weekend.
Tyrone Gores, your national champion in the boys 5K. Daniel Simmons, second, 13:59, also dipping under 14 minutes. Lex Young finishes third, 14 flat, .64. Those are 3 of the 4 fastest high school boys times ever in the indoor 5K.
Here at the track.
Here at the track at New Balance. What a run. The greatest boys 5K in U.S. history.
I think he just completed that victory lap faster than I ran this morning.
We need to put a time on that victory lap.
Yeah.
And he's down on the track getting interviewed by Kerry Tollefson, sharing a little bit of the thoughts and feelings he had as he went and attacked. We talked about that, Katie, a decisive move, 900 meters to go, and I think it caught everyone by surprise.
Definitely.
And Tyrone Gores is going to Washington next fall.
He's going to UW?
He's going to UW.
Go Dogs!
Go Dogs!
Tyrone Gores, what a run, 13:56.82. And in 2 days,
Wow.
he wins 2 New Balance Nationals titles here at the track.
There we go. Magic happens here. You know, this track opened up with a world record in the DMR. We're seeing these records fall, and it's all due to the hard work of these athletes. As Tyrone Gores poses in front of that national record sign, I love that they give him a little piece of that tape to hang up on his wall.
And not only that, doing it in a high school only race. No pacers.
Yeah.
That is Those top 3 that ran 14 flat and faster, they just went for it, and that's the type of racing that draws out fast times. That's what everybody loves about track and field. It's fun to have pacers and run for fast times, but that pure racing, we weren't talking about the national record anymore halfway through this one when they were on 14:12 pace through 2,500 meters. But all of a sudden, Katie, you said the lights were in his eyes, and then it was with 600 meters to go, he started clawing back at it.
It goes from surviving to thriving like that.
I thought that was a metaphor when you said the lights were back in his eyes. I'm like, okay, sure, he woke up a little bit, but no, it was the pace lights that were back in his eyes. And we really would love to talk to Tyrone Gores at some point. Was that the strategy, or did he just feel so good? I just can't believe this differential. His 4th K was 250, and then he dropped down to a 234.76. That's just really pushing from very far out to make that dominant move just around that K 800 mark.
Yeah, really running 15-second splits all the way out from 4,200. So the last 800 meters of that race, everything was a 30, a 30, a 30. Just runs 2 flat to close it out, or just over 2 flat once you add up. So probably around 203 or so. But what an incredible close to that one. That's about how fast he ran the second half of his mile on the DMR. So,
yeah.
You know, is he done for the weekend? Is he coming back for the 1 mile? You know, make it a three-peat, one national championship every single day?
Yeah, I think when you start to get a little bit of that momentum, it's almost contagious. You know, you feel good because it almost just like starts to flow a little bit. You can feel really bad, and then all of a sudden you get a little bit of momentum, and that's all you need.
That's all he needed for Tyrone Gores. Still celebrating down at the track. We are getting ready to switch gears to